Peace, peace, what's going on? I'm late than a motherfucker, but I'm here. I'm late than a motherfucker, but I'm here though. What's going on? What's going on? Come on up in here. Come on up in here. Yes, indeed. We got some game to chop up this evening. We got some game that we gonna chop up this evening. Come on up in here. Give me a minute to share this out with a couple of people. Give me a second just to share this out with a couple of people. See if I can't get the room cracking a little bit. Alright. Bear with me just a minute, family. Alright, it's going to be a good discussion this evening once I get this thing started. Come on up in here, family. Come on up in here. Share this out. Share this out real quick. What about 5 to 10 people on your list? And invite some people to come on up in here with us. We're going to chop up some good game. Alright. Alright, bear with me once again, family, as I do this. Bear with me as I do this. Let me see. Okay. Peace, peace, peace. Hold on 1 second, fam. Hold on 1 second. It's a couple of people that I'm hoping have time to jump up in here that I would like to add on to this conversation. I'm trying to find them here on my list. So give me a second. Give me a second. We're going to get into it. We're going to get into it. In the meantime, please share this out. Share this with about 5 to 10 people. Tell them to come on up in here. Let's chop it up. This should be a good discussion on tonight. Alright. My brother right there. Okay, look at my brother right there. Alright. This brother right here. Boom. Boom. I know some people are on different time zones. It's late in some places, it's early in other places. Stay healthy, good job. Yeah, I be trying, man. I be trying to get my water intake popping. I be trying to get my water intake popping on a consistent basis whenever I can. But yeah, we're going to get started in a second. Let me give it a couple of minutes, man. I'm looking for a couple of particular people to join this live. We were going back and forth in the comment section today. Actually, let me look on here so I can see what the names are. So yes, I had put up a post earlier today. I had made a reel out of a clip from David Banner when David Banner was on Sway in the Morning. Peace to the family. Crown 808 in the building. I see you. Healthfully mine. Peace, what's going on? Queen Cree, how's everybody doing tonight? Listen, please share this out. Invite about 5 to 10 people to come on in here and chop it up. As I was saying, so I made a post today with a clip from David Banner where he was on Sway in the Morning, and it was discussing the negative effects of hip-hop music, that hip-hop music has on the community, on young people in the community, how it affects us in a negative way, and how our music and our radio stations are the only ones with 90% of the content is something that is negative or detrimental to us. And so actually, let me just play that for y'all real quick so y'all can see exactly what I'm talking about. I put up this post earlier today.
All good. If you look at our radio stations, like, go down today if you think I'm joking. Go from 0 on the radio down all the way to 200. Okay. Listen to every different specialized groups. We are the only group that 90% of everything that we talk about in our music is detrimental to us. When we talk about bitches, we're not talking about women in general. We're talking about our women. Yeah. When we talk about niggas, we're talking about us. When we talking about busting somebody in the head, shooting them, we're talking about us. So, like, at what point do we? It's all good. If you look at.
So that was the post I put up today. And the comment section started going crazy. Everybody was coming in the comment section, voicing their opinions and speaking on the topic. And so you know how sometimes it gets too much to type inside the comment section. And so actually I've been wanting to go live all day to talk about this, but I was a little busy. I had, take care of business throughout the day. So I said I'm gonna just go live later on tonight and have this conversation with the family, because it seemed to stir up some emotions. It seemed to stir up some energy, whatever that energy is. You know what I'm saying? People got real tapped in with that post when I put it out there. Like I said, the comment section was going crazy. People were going back and forth. It sparked a good conversation. And so I wanted to do a live to continue the conversation and kind of break it all the way down and really, really get into it. Really get into it, because this is a important topic pertaining to the black community, number one. And also, it's not a new topic. You know what I'm saying? And I think oftentimes when this topic is discussed, there are a lot of misnomers that go out there. And also, a lot of times, people are not allowing room for nuances. You know what I'm saying? People are usually picking from the low-hanging fruit. You know what I'm saying? And so I don't want to do that. I always want to get to the root of the problem. If we're going to fix problems in the community. What's going on, Jackson, Harlem? Akia Numi, I see y'all in the building. Yeah, got that new red Nagash. Shout out to Nagash Clothing Apparel. What is it called? Shoe company and clothing apparel out there. Yes, indeed. Y'all can shop Nagash and use promo code Sincere Love to God and get yourself a discount on that fresh Nagash gear. Dope brand, dope company. I like what they doing out there in Michigan with they brand, and not only just with the clothing and stuff, but they really getting involved with the community and helping people out in a real way out there. So shout out to Nagash. And if y'all shop with them, once again, use the promo code Sincere Love to God and you will receive a discount. But like I said, when these topics are discussed, and any topic really, whenever we're discussing problems within the community and we're looking for real solutions to our problems, we have to go to the root of those problems. But a lot of times when people discuss topics like the one that we're going to get into today, people like to pick the low-hanging fruit. You know what I'm saying? And they don't really get to the root of the matter, and that's the reason why we haven't really dealt with the issue and come up with solutions. And so in order to do that, we're going to have to dig a little deep, family. We're going to have to dig a little deep, and we're going to have to, shun some of the conventional wisdom. You know what I'm talking about? What's going on, Love Khadija in the digital building? What's going on, Nikki the God just pulled up. Peace to the family. Make sure y'all share this out. Invite 5 to 10 people to come on up in here with us. We gonna chop up some good game. I'm gonna try my best to take my time and really, like I said, get into the nuances of this discussion. Because a lot of times, like I said, I wanted to go live earlier while everything was heated and things was, all the thoughts was racing to my mind. I wanted to go live while it was fresh. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times I'll want to say certain things and then I'll get on here and forget exactly what I wanted to say. I'll forget certain points that I wanted to make. But I'm going to do my best to try to take my time and try to really hit all of the important points dealing with this conversation. So once again, we talking about a post that I put up, for those of y'all that just pulled up. Talking about a post that I put up earlier today. I'm going to just play the post for y'all so y'all can get the context of what the discussion is going to be about.
It's all good. If you look at our radio stations, like, go down today if you think I'm joking. Go from 0 on the radio down all the way to 200. Okay. Listen to every different specialized groups. We are the only group that 90% of everything that we talk about in our music is detrimental to us. When we talk about bitches, we're not talking about women in general. We're talking about our women. Yeah. When we talk about niggas, we're talking about us. When we talking about busting somebody in the head, shooting them, we're talking about us. So, like, at what point do we? It's all good. All right. If you look at our rating. So that's the post that I put up that kind of sparked this conversation. And like I said, that's what I want to get into with y'all this evening. And, you know, like I said, I'm going to try to take my time and break it down as best as I can. And then hopefully a little bit later on towards the end, I could bring some of y'all on to drop some knowledge and give some of y'all perspectives on the topic as well. Because I know a lot of people had a lot to say in the comment section when I put the post up. And so this kind of started from really, it's been an ongoing conversation. And I'm talking, when I say ongoing, I'm talking about years, decades even. Conversation that me and my brother been having about the word nigga. I'm talking about, we've been having this conversation going way back before social media. You know what I'm saying? When I was in prison, he used to come visit me when I was in prison, and we used to have this discussion. You know what I'm saying? When I was doing like my first mixtape, and he was helping me with my videos and all of that, you know what I mean? And at that time, you know, the music was a little more gangster than the music that I make today. You know what I'm saying? And we used to have those discussions then about the word nigga and how we use the word nigga. And, you know, he's of the mind that the word should just be, we shouldn't use it at all. You know what I'm saying? It's detrimental to us and we shouldn't use it at all. And I always argue kind of against that. You know what I'm saying? Because I use the word nigga profusely. You know what I mean? I'm like Paul Mooney. I say nigga 100 times a day because it makes my teeth white. You know what I'm saying? But we've been having that ongoing discussion for years, way before social media. And so since social media, it still comes up. He'll be in my DM every once in a while, sending me a meme or a video clip of somebody who is kind of, you know, co-signing his point of view. You know what I'm saying? And vice versa. I'll be sending him stuff with somebody breaking something down that's co-signing my point of view. You know what I'm saying? And so today, actually the last couple of days, we were having that discussion in the DMs. And then today, early in the morning, he sent me that David Banner post. Where is it? I gotta find this. Okay. And so this is my bro. I'm gonna be reading some of what people were saying in the comment section, because that'll hopefully jog my memory of some of the things that I wanted to say, some of the points that I wanted to make. And I'm also going to share some of the back and forth between me and my bro. But I'm not going to say no names. When I mention these things, I'm not going to say no names, because it's not about trying to call somebody out or trying to get people to go in on certain people. Because a lot of times, you know, this is social media. You know, people be going in on folks. You know what I'm saying? People have disagreements, and it's like war. It's like war in the comment section. Niggas be going in on you. Oh, you a coon, or you this and that and the third. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times we have a hard time disagreeing without being disagreeable with one another. And, you know, I don't want it to turn into that. So I'm not going to be calling out no names when I have this discussion. But anyway, he sent that to me,
kind of a response to, you know, us having this ongoing conversation. Because let me go back a little bit more. So it was a couple of days ago, I believe. It was my dude Chase from Voice of the Ancestors. He posted a clip from Brother Kaba talking about the origins and the roots of the word nigga. And I'll play that real quick.
And so our ancestors had names in northern Africa. Nga, Negus, Neter. All of these words, sounds. Negus, Negusti. King of King, Lord of Lords. Nter. Ngar means the spirit or the God. The energy, the vibration. That is what the N-word means. Can you believe that? But dirty people took a beautiful sound, took a beautiful word, and they dirtied it. So every time we hear that word, no matter the beauty of the word and its origins and meanings, it still brings forward that pain of being enslaved, of being treated inhumanely. And so our ancestors...
Right. And so, like I said, I'll come across certain stuff like that on social media, and I'll probably send it to him. You know what I'm saying? And vice versa. He'd do the same thing with me. But, you know, and Dr. Kaba is not necessarily advocating for us saying the word nigga. I don't even think he uses the word nigga like that. I can't recall him really using it. But he was just breaking down that history and the etymology of where the word actually comes from. And that's been part of my argument with my stance for a long time. That's been a part of my argument. Like, it was our word to begin with. You know what I'm saying? So the origin of the word had power in it. You know what I'm saying? We used it to express our divinity, to express our royalty. You know what I'm saying? And so, like the master teacher said, dirty people took it and they dirtied it and they made it evil. You know what I'm saying? And so my argument is that, you know, if they could take a beautiful word like that and make it dirty, how come we can't take it back and make it beautiful again? It's ours. It's our planet. You know what I'm saying? It's our planet. We the ones that invented the sounds. We the ones that organized the sounds to come up with different languages in the first place. You know what I'm saying? And I believe it's also about the intention. The intention has a lot to do with the energy that comes with the power of the word, right? Especially when we speak in this bastard language that we speak now. You know what I'm saying? We speak in this bastard English language, which doesn't even follow its own rules in the first place. You know what I'm saying? Whereas our ancestors, the languages that they came up with, it wasn't just random shit. They actually understood the vibrational frequency of the sounds and what they meant on a metaphysical level. You know what I'm saying? So when they formulated their alphabets, when they formulated their what do you call it? The symbols that would formulate the different alphabets, the same sound that they made with their mouth was the vibration that sound gives off formulates the same shape of the actual symbol. You know what I'm saying? So there was power behind it. You know what I'm saying? There was power behind it on a metaphysical level. It's not just random sounds that they was making. You know what I'm saying? Our ancestors spoke languages with their whole throat chakra. You know what I'm saying? Whereas with this language, we just mostly use our tongue and our lips, you know, our teeth. But they spoke language with their whole throat chakra, and even like the upper respiratory system was used to express the languages to make different vibrations and different sounds. And those sounds correlated with the symbols that they used to represent those sounds. So that's a little deep. But that's been kind of, you know, my argument for a long time with, you know, the use of the word nigga. And so, not saying that I'm right or wrong. That's just where I'm at as far as that. And so, again, we were having that discussion, and this morning he sent me the David Banner post. And let me see what I said. Let me see what I said when he sent me that. Yeah, so he sent me that post that I just played for y'all. Should I play it again? Should I play it again, or y'all good? I'm gonna probably be playing it a couple of times throughout. Like I said, just to jog my memory and try to get me to remember certain points that I wanted to make. But should I play it again right now? What's going on, Jenny? DJ RP Beats just slid up in here. What's going on? Peace, God. And so, real quick, I'll play it. He sent me this.
It's all good. Look at our radio stations. Like, go down today if you think I'm joking. Go from 0 on the radio down all the way to 200. Okay. Listen to every different specialized groups. We are the only group that 90% of everything that we talk about in our music is detrimental to us. When we talk about bitches, we're not talking about women in general. We're talking about our women. Yeah. When we talk about niggas, we're talking about us. When we talking about busting somebody in the head, shooting them, we're talking about us. So, like, at what point?
And so, y'all get the point. Y'all get the point of that. Like I said, I'll be playing it throughout this live right here anyway. So, and so when he sent that to me, I said, "But who owns the radio station? Who are the program directors?" And I also said, white people are the #1 consumers of drill, gangsta, and twerk music. So how come it doesn't have a negative effect on their community? Those were some of the questions that I had when he sent that to me. Because he sent that to me to make the point of, you know, because his stance is, and he's probably going to be sliding up in here soon, but his stance is that, you know, we need to just do away with that type of music altogether. That type of music shouldn't exist. It has a negative effect on the community. We need to clean up the music. You know, it's indefensible. It's indefensible. We can't defend it. It shouldn't exist. We need to do better. All that type of shit, right? That came at a very particular time in hip hop history. That's a fact, and we're gonna get into that. That's a fact, and we're gonna get into that. I'm glad you said that, because that's definitely one of the points that I wanted to make. So again, one of my questions were, who owns the station? Who are the program directors? And then I said, white people are the #1 consumers of drill, gangsta, and twerk music. So how come it doesn't have a negative effect on their community? If the music is the problem, then it should affect other communities the same way that it affects our communities if they consume it just as much as us, if not more. Unless you're saying that something innately is wrong with us. If the music is the source of the problem, but it doesn't affect other communities who listen to the music the same way that it affects us, then that means that you're arguing that something is innately wrong with us. We're not intelligent as other people to be able to just view the music or listen to the music as pure entertainment. We're not intelligent enough to just listen to the music, be entertained by the music, but not absorb it and emulate it and be impressionable towards it and, you know, carry out the things that we hear in the music and the things that we see in the videos and all of that stuff. If you're saying that the music itself is the problem, how come it doesn't have the same effect on other communities? Does that mean that there's something wrong with us as a people? Peace to the God. I see you up in here, Wavy. Peace to the God. Because they know it's just music. Okay, she says because they know it's just music. Mama Love, peace, what's going on? So, what is wrong with black people? African Dance and Music Institute, peace, what's going on? What is wrong with black people that other people seem to know that it's just music, but our people don't know that? Do we lack the intelligence to be able to just know that it's just music? And Hawaiian B said those are the major problems with the youth. Elaborate on that. What are the major problems with the youth? What are you saying is the major problems with the youth? Because another question that I have is, what problems exist in the community today that didn't exist before rap music? What are the problems that exist in the black community today that didn't exist before rap music, or before gangster rap music, or before drill music, before all of this stuff that the youth is out here doing right now? Before that came along, did we not have the same problems plaguing our communities? Weren't those same problems already prevalent before rap music became the #1 genre? If not, please tell me what are some of the new problems that we have that didn't exist prior to the music. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, I'm no historian or anything like that, but I'm a person who takes a particular interest in the history of our people. And as far as my research tells me, the same problems that are plaguing the black community today have been plaguing us for decades upon decades. So if anybody can name any of the new problems that we have, then maybe we could talk about, okay, maybe the music is the problem. The problems were there, but the music didn't have an influence. Okay, so then if that's the case, then the music can't be the problem. Right? And let me just be clear about something. Because I'm not in absolute disagreement with what David Banner was saying in the video, and I'm not 100% in disagreement with my brother or the other people who were kind of arguing the other side of the point, the people who are saying that the music is the problem and all of that, right? I'm not 100% against what those brothers and sisters were saying. My stance is that there's more nuance to the situation, and we have to go deeper than that, and we can't just pick the low-hanging fruit. It don't take a rocket scientist to say, man, you know, niggas is killing each other in the hood, and niggas is talking about killing each other in the songs. So those things got to go hand in hand. It don't take a rocket scientist to figure that out. You know what I'm saying? And so we'll get to some of the solutions later on, but let me just, like I said, I want to slow walk this thing because I want to remember most of what my thoughts were earlier and what I wanted to say. The music is a reflection on the society. I agree with that. Influence of social media. What about the influence of social media? We're talking about the potential influence that rap music has on the community. Now, rap music was around before social media, so I don't know what you mean by that. Do our brothers kill each other more now? I feel like the youth is more vicious now. I feel like the hate evolved over time. Okay, that might be a fair thing to say. That might be a fair assessment. But are there other factors in place that would exacerbate the issue as well? We have to look at our problems in totality in order to come up with solutions, right? We're missing a whole generation of love music dominating airwaves that previous generations created too. That's a good point as well. And now remember, I'm the guy who makes positive, uplifting, empowering rap music. Right? I'm the guy who made The Spear and the Shield. You know what I'm saying? I'm the guy that has the new single that's streaming on all platforms right now called The Plandemic. You know what I'm saying? So I'm all for anti-matrix music. I'm all for conscious music. I'm all for high vibrational frequencies in the music. I'm all for making music that uplifts the people. But at the same time, I'm on here pretty much arguing for the drill music and the gangster music and for its right to exist and for there to be a place for it. That's my argument. You know what I'm saying? Because some people think that we should just throw the babies out with the bathwater. And I'm not of that thought. I'm not of the thought that we should just throw the babies out with the bathwater. Fathers must steer our sons in other constructive areas. They said the thing about soul music back in the day, and they called it jungle music. Those was white folks calling it jungle music. But it was always a separation between the elders and the youth when it came to the music, right? Like, even if you remember when you watched the Ray Charles movie, when he first started doing his thing with the R&B, and he was using those gospel chords in the music, but he was talking about, you know, making love to a woman or getting with a female, whatever the case may be. The older people and the church people said that was devil music. They said that was devil music. You know what I'm saying? And so they were against that. When jazz came along, you know, the blues, the guys that was doing the blues and the gospel before that, they was shunning the jazz artists. You know what I'm saying? And then the bebop artists was getting shunned. Every time a new genre that we created came up, it always got shunned by the previous generation and looked down upon by the previous generation. So it's no different with hip hop. You know what I'm saying? But there is a slight difference because now we have the elders within hip hop critiquing the youth in hip hop. And so before, like in the beginning when hip hop first came out, it was different because we were being critiqued by people who weren't a part of the culture. We were being critiqued by people that were from the disco era, people that were from the funk era, from the Motown era. They were the ones who had negative things to say about rap music when it first started. And so that was a generational gap. There was a separation between generations there. But now, you know, that hip hop is starting to mature a little bit. It's still very young, but hip hop is approaching like, you know, 50 years of being in the mainstream at this point. And it's been around even longer than that. But since it came out into the mainstream, it's been around for like 50 years now. And so now you have the elders within hip hop that is looking down and having harsh critiques for some of the youth within hip hop. So it's a little bit different there. It's a little bit different there, right? And so I see a couple of more people done pulled up in the room, and I appreciate everybody who's sharing this out and inviting people to come on in. So just to reset real quick, I'm gonna play again the post that I put up earlier that we're discussing right now. So I put up this post on my Instagram today, and it caused, you know, Beatzilla, what's going on? B1. You know, it created some good conversation in the comment section. So that's what the live is about tonight. Share this out with like 5 to 10 people. Tell them to come on in and join the conversation. But this was the topic of discussion for those of y'all that just pulled up.
It's all good. If you look at our radio stations, like, go down today if you think I'm joking. Go from 0 on the radio down all the way to 200. Okay. Listen to every different specialized groups. We are the only group that 90% of everything that we talk about in our music is detrimental to us. When we talk about bitches, we're not talking about women in general. We're talking about our women. Yeah. When we talk about niggas, we're talking about us. When we talking about busting somebody in the head, shooting them, we're talking about us. So, like, at what point do we...
Right, so that's what the conversation is about for those of y'all that just pulled up. And I saw somebody said the lyrics now are more negative than it was in the beginning. And that's absolutely a fact. And I'm going to get to that point as well. But the lyrics been negative for a long time. The lyrics are more negative now than it was in the beginning, for sure. But the lyrics have been negative for a long time. The negative lyrics in the drill rap music is not no worse than it was in the 90s gangsta rap music. You know what I'm saying? And so I think some of the criticism is a little bit unfair and unwarranted. Not all of it. There's always room for criticism. There's always room for self accountability, and there are always things that we can do to do better for ourselves. You know what I'm saying? There's always room for improvement. So I'm not here saying that everything is perfect and we don't need to fix nothing. You know what I'm saying? Not at all. All I'm saying is I'm not willing to throw the babies out with the bathwater, because the babies are not the problem. The babies are actually the victims. The rappers are not the problem. The rappers are actually the victims. Neely Fuller says, Any problem that you could point out in the black community, all roads always lead back to white supremacy. And that's not just making up an excuse, not wanting to take accountability, playing the victim. This is a reality. All roads lead back to white supremacy. And so the question was asked earlier, okay, if the music is the problem and white people listen to the music just as much as we do, if not more, because when you look at these rap concerts and you look out into the crowd, you'll see a sea of white people. I don't care who performing. I don't care if it's Lil Wayne. I don't care if it's Lil Durk. I don't care if it's Kodak Black. I don't care if it was Tupac or Public Enemy or Dead Prez or Mos Def and Talib Kweli. When they go out and perform at these big venues, when you look out into the crowd, you see a bunch of white people up in there. And so white people, Hispanic people, Asian people, all over the world, not even just in this country, but all over the world, you have all these different groups of people that are consuming the same content. But it doesn't have the same negative effects on their communities. So why is that? Right, bitches ain't shit but hoes and tricks. Shout out to Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dre, and all that. You know what I mean? The shit that the babies is rapping about now ain't no worse than what we was rapping about back in the days. It ain't no worse, right? White people don't feel the spiritual vibration though. They don't relate to the lyrics. We relate, so we respond to it differently. I disagree with that. Now, you got a little deep when you said the vibrational frequency and all that, because, yeah, there is some truth to that. There's certain vibrations that they just can't tap into. But when it comes to those lower chakra vibrations, that's all they can tap into for the most part. It's the higher frequencies that they can't tap into. That's why they couldn't understand what Miles Davis and Thelonious Monk and all of those guys were doing when they picked up those European instruments and they created jazz. You know what I'm saying? Whose name is escaping me? Somebody's name is escaping me. Somebody very important name is escaping me. But when they picked up those European brass instruments and they started creating jazz music, white folks didn't understand what was happening, what that was, because those were some high vibrational frequencies that they weren't able to tap into. You know what I'm saying? The funk. When you look at the funk music and all that, Earth, Wind, and Fire, and Parliament Funkadelic and all of that, high vibrational frequencies that a lot of other people can't tap into, right? But let me say what I was going to say. White people do emulate what they hear and see the rappers doing the same way that the black youth do. The same way that the black youth look up to these rappers and they try to emulate what they hear them speaking about in their rhymes and what they see in the videos and all of that, the white kids actually do the same thing. But the difference is white communities are not over-policed by these militarized police departments. White people's communities are not targeted with stop and frisk laws, with, you know what I'm saying, mass incarceration and all this stuff, right? There's not a system in place that is targeting white people to over-criminalize them. The mainstream media is not showing you all of these white meth heads and drug addicts ODing on drugs night after night, robbing and stealing and doing all the shit that they got to do, selling pussy and all that to get their fix. All the crimes that they committing in their communities, you don't see that every night on the 6 o'clock news. So they're not demonized and criminalized for the behavior, but they still do the same behavior. They just part of one of the major tenets of white supremacy is to not punish white children. But our children get over punished. And so really that's the only difference. Or I should say that's the major difference. That's the major difference. Our communities are over-policed. The media is at war with us. The politicians are at war with us. They're waging war with us. And at the same time, they're protecting the people that look like them. And so that's the difference. And so a lot of times we internalize that. We look at the 6 o'clock news and the 10 o'clock news every day, and we see ourselves being dragged out in handcuffs. And, you know, somebody done did some heinous crime over here. Somebody did some heinous crime over here. Night after night, you seeing this. You seeing people that look like you, people that look like your son, your nephew. You know what I'm saying? And you say, damn, black people need to do better. What the hell is wrong with black people? You know what I'm saying? But the crime in white communities is underreported. It's not that it don't exist. It's just underreported. Not even just in white communities, but in other communities as well, where they create these model minority groups. They got gangs just like we got gangs. But they don't sensationalize it. They don't demonize it and criminalize it with their media apparatuses. That is reserved strictly for us, the main targets of white supremacy. Right? So now we getting into how all roads lead to white supremacy, right? And so another reason why the music affects us more than it affects people in other communities is because in their communities, they don't have the same destitution. They don't have the same engineered, manufactured destitution from generation to generation of passed down poverty, generation to generation of deprivation taking place in their community, right? From drugs and guns being government sanctioned, funneled into their community. And so the recipe for the behavior to manifest itself is engineered and manufactured in our community. And so when we hear the music, we have a different reaction to it because when we walk out our door, it's a reflection of our reality. But when Billy, who lives over in the suburbs, is listening to the music, the reason why it's just entertainment to him, because he walks outside of his door and there's a picket fence and a little fluffy dog running around. Because he has a future to look forward to, because there's a family business that's being passed down. Because there's a piece of property that he's going to inherit. So he has a future to look forward to, where our babies don't see no future. All they see is destitution. They don't have value for their own lives because they don't see why they should. They got abandoned buildings all up and down the street. You got crackheads running around, and all of the men that they did know being mass incarcerated, being shot down. This is what happened. This is what's happening when they walk outside their front door. So the shit that they hearing in the music, it is real. It's not just entertainment. But the thing is, the music didn't create the conditions. It was the conditions that created the music in the first place. The music didn't create the conditions. It was the conditions that created the music in the first place. It's called social engineering. And so who chooses, like I asked earlier, who owns the radio station? Who are the program directors? Who owns the record labels? Who decides who's going to get a record deal and who's not going to get a record deal? Who decides who's going to get a budget and who's not going to get a budget? Who's going to be promoted and who's not going to be promoted? It's not us that are making those decisions. It is our enemies who are actually the ones who are making those decisions. They're coming into our communities and they're finding the ones who are the most lost, the ones who are the most degenerate among us. And they take them and they give them the record deal and they give them the budget and they make them the superstars and they plaster their images all over the TV. They blast their music all over the airwaves. And they say, this is what black culture is. But it's not just Sincere Love to God that's out here making positive, uplifting, meaningful, thoughtful music. It's not just Sincere Love to God. Let's go back for a minute to something that somebody said earlier. I think it was Jackson Harlem said earlier. The music took a turn at a particular point in history. The music took a turn at a particular point in history. When rap music first started on a mainstream level, when rap music first came out, Rapper's Delight, Grandmaster Flash, Furious 5, and all that stuff came out, Run DMC, all that shit came out, right? At first, again, white people didn't understand what they was hearing, they didn't understand what they was seeing. But they saw an opportunity to make some money. They saw an opportunity to make some money. So they weren't really concerned with infiltrating the culture per se, because they didn't see it as a culture. They just saw it as a fad. Something that would come and go. They saw it as a fad, something that would just come and go. It would phase out. They were like, oh, these niggas are spinning on their heads and doing all of this shit. They scratching up the records and all that. They didn't understand what was happening. But they said, you know, it's gaining some popularity. So, hey, there's an opportunity for us to make some money here. So they got in. They started signing all these artists. You know, it created, our culture began to create a cottage industry. A lot of people was eating. The record company owners, the radio stations, radio program directors, the DJs, the MTV, people like that. You know what I'm saying? Even some of the technology companies and all of that, because we weren't making the turntables, we weren't making the speakers, we weren't making the headphones and all of this shit. You know what I'm saying? The mixers and all of that stuff that we were using to create the music. We wasn't the ones that were coming up with the technology. You had these companies who were able to slide in and benefit as well, right? So everybody saw dollar signs. So they got in. They said, all right, cool. And so at that point, we were still, even though it was being exploited economically, we were still in control of the culture. The culture was on its natural trajectory, uninterrupted, without being infiltrated by outside influences and hostile enemy influences. They were just coming in to make a dollar. That's all it was about. So that's the reason why Rakim could get a deal back in the days. Poor Righteous Teachers could get a deal back in the days. Brand Nubians, Public Enemy, all of these people, KRS-One, they could get a deal and get a big budget, because only thing that the dominant society was worried about at that time was making money. They didn't think that this was going to have a powerful effect on the community and on the world. They didn't think this was something that was going to become the most viable vibration in the entire universe. They didn't understand that. So they invested in it. And so then hip-hop was on its natural course, and everything was going towards positivity. Niggas was wearing African medallions. You had X-Clan out here. You know what I'm saying? Everybody was talking about free South Africa, stop the violence, stop smoking crack. Right? Be a father to your child. There was AIDS awareness songs. There was all types of positive music that was being made, and rappers was getting deals, and this shit was coming out on mainstream radio, on MTV, and all of this shit. It was getting played. And then the wise amongst the dominant society saw the effect that this was taking on our community in particular. Not the fact that this was spreading all across the world and it was really catching on and becoming a thing, and hey, maybe this might not just be a fad, maybe this thing might be here to stay. It was like, hold on. They starting to wake people up. Crime is going down. The gangs are squashing their beefs. And niggas ain't doing drugs and shit the way that they used to. They starting to put the alcohol down and all that. So yeah, we making some money. You know what I'm saying? We're able to sell our products. Adidas, yep. We're able to sell our products and all of that. We're able to tap into whatever it is that they're doing, even though we don't know what they're doing. We're able to put our brands and our products in place behind it and capitalize off it and make some money. But wait a minute. The Negroes is waking up. We can't have this. We can't have this. And so I'm sure most of y'all on here have heard about the infamous meeting that took place. There's a video online that y'all can find of, I think it was Lazy Bone or Busy Bone. I don't know the difference between the Bones and Bone Thugs and Harmony. But I think it was Lazy Bone or Busy Bone, or one of them was doing an interview, and he was talking about this infamous meeting that took place. Minister Farrakhan has spoken about this meeting too as well, how he spoke to some of the rappers and they told him about this meeting that took place with these different record execs, where they decided it wasn't just the record execs, but the record execs were forming an alliance with the owners of these private prisons. It was the owners of these private prison industrial complexes and the record labels coming together to change the course and the direction of rap music. Was it Crazy Bone? It might have been Crazy Bone. Right? And so they said, listen, we not signing no more KRS-Ones. We not signing no more X-Clans and Poor Righteous Teachers. You heard NWA, you see how much money NWA made? And now this is not to throw NWA under the bus. This is not to throw NWA under the bus at all, or none of the gangster rappers for that matter. Because in actuality, a lot of the gangster rap is actually positive when it's done correctly. When gangster rap is done correctly, it's actually revolutionary. You know what I'm saying? This is the warrior spirit speaking about the realities that were taking place in the community, and it became like the news. It became like I think it was Chuck D that described it as the CNN of the hood. We was telling our version of what was really happening in the communities, right? And so, but the wise amongst them again understood that the youth would not be able to understand those nuances. Me being one of those youths at the time, very impressionable listening to that type of music, right? And so I didn't get the messages, the positive messages that were inside it. When I was watching Boys in the Hood and Menace to Society as a child, all I saw was the gangster shit, shoot 'em up shit taking place. I didn't get the message that John Singleton was trying to tell us until I got older. And so, again, the wise among them understood that. They understood the youth is not going to pick up on all of those nuances and the positive messages. All they're going to see is the negative imagery and so on and so forth. And that's what they're going to cling to. Peace, what's going on, Brother Cam, Brother Willie? Assalamu alaikum. Appreciate y'all coming up in here. Right? And so then that's when we started to see the music and the culture take a turn and became unbalanced. Because I believe that the gangster music, there's a place for it. I believe that the drill music, there should be a place for it. You know what I'm saying? But the problem is there's no balance. The problem is that there's no balance. All of the focus is on them. All of the budget is going towards them. All of the frequency is directed in that way. All right? So let me reset one more time, family. We talking about I'm responding to a post that I had put up earlier that sparked a good conversation in the comment section. So check it out.
It's all good. If you look at our radio stations, like go down today if you think I'm joking. Go from 0 on the radio down all the way to 200. Okay. Listen to every different specialized groups. We are the only group that 90% of everything that we talk about in our music is detrimental to us. When we talk about bitches, we're not talking about women in general. We're talking about our women. Yeah. When we talk about niggas, we're talking about us. When we talking about busting somebody in the head, shooting them, we're talking about us. So, like, at what point do we? It's all good.
Right. So again, this is not me saying Dave Banner's wrong. Dave Banner don't know what the hell he's talking about. This is just me adding some nuance to those comments, because if you watch that interview, That's a very short clip from what David Banner was actually saying. I think right after that, he did add on, what did he say? He added some layers to those comments. You know what I'm saying? So it's not as simplified as that. He wasn't just picking at the low-hanging fruit. You know what I'm saying? But here they go, using their lyrics to conjure up RICO charges. Facts. They use every element to brainwash us. Facts. Facts. And so what I was saying about the balance is the reason why the music is more detrimental in our community is because of the conditions that already exist. Right? Because if we weren't inflicted with impoverished communities, overran with drugs and all of the stuff that we deal with on a regular basis, if the media wasn't constantly attacking us and demonizing us, and we weren't being mass incarcerated, and we had strong families together, and there was wealth in our communities, and there was prosperity in our communities and all that, there was wealth being transferred from one generation to the next, and we didn't have all this destitute that we experience. If that wasn't the case, then drill music or gangster music wouldn't have a negative effect on us. The same way it doesn't have a negative effect on Billy. Billy listening to the same shit. But like I said earlier, when he walk out his door, he don't see that reality. So when he turned off the radio, it all goes off. Peace, what's going on, Jacobs? You know what I'm saying? But for our children, when they take off their headphones and look around, they see the same shit that they just heard on that song. It's a reality. You know what I'm saying? And so they find themselves in a state of survival. And we're a little bit too harsh, and we lack the understanding to look at the youth and think that they're supposed to have it all figured out. Man, what's wrong with y'all, man? Y'all here with all this negative shit and all of that, man. Y'all don't see that this is the white man's plan and all that. Well, y'all need to get it together. Why y'all making this music? You know this music ain't no good, mom. Why y'all doing this? Pull your pants up, mom. Not understanding that, how the hell they supposed to have it all together and they under constant attack? They were born into this socially engineered nigger factory, because the nigger is a creation of white supremacy. The nigger mentality is a creation of white supremacy. It's engineered, it's manufactured. You know what I'm saying? And so is there room for us to do some self-reflection, some self-correction, and take some accountability? Absolutely. Absolutely. There are definitely absolutely things that we need to be doing within our own communities to try to fix the situation and make it better. But we cannot, it is criminal and it is treasonous to let the white supremacy